Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We're focusing in a little bit more in depth on the traits and personality characteristics, and really is how they manifest in the male or female psychopath, and that is really springboarding on the term of semantic aphasia, a work basically originated and developed by Dr. Harvey Clary, who wrote the book, The Mask of Sanity. He did some of the beginning, Dr. Harvey Cleckley, if you want to get the book, The Mask of Sanity. He discusses some of the early pioneering work of understanding the psychopath, their mental makeup. They're really, and explored a little bit of their how they process things differently than the rest of the population, and what sets them apart, and how they use this to manipulate. And so it's very important to understand that this is a manipulation. It's not just like someone working hard to get your attention, or to be just a communicator. We're talking about someone who really does not have a connection of meaning to things in life. It's really all about a pathological envy and a greed and a really sort of void emptiness within this individual. And it is pathological in nature, meaning abnormal. If you've been and had blood work done and it comes up, your numbers are off, your cholesterol is high, you're in the state of disease, you're in the state of pathology. And so this is a similar characteristic or trait which is originated in the different neural regions of the brain of the psychopath, particularly the amygdala, which is responsible for fear control, response, and experience of fear, as well as areas of the prefrontal region of the brain that have to do with learning and sort of planning, as well as some of the other limbic areas of the brain which relate to emotional content, and then the reward chemical of dopamine, which they have a hypersensitivity to dopamine, which makes them extremely reward driven. So something that is all about satisfaction of whatever it is that they're going to get in the time being is really all they're going after. So this is how they basically conceal and cover up this inner sense of void or meaninglessness in their life, because of their deficit or inactivity or apathy of like a devoid of emotional content with connection with people. And this is basically what we know as a lack of conscience. So in other words, they have no sort of feeling if they hurt somebody. They have no guilt if they lie, if they pathologically lie, if they pull over huge grand schemes. They don't feel that they've done anything wrong. It doesn't resonate as anything wrong with them. And because of this, I don't want you to feel sorry for them. A lot of people tend to say, oh, I feel sorry for these people, they're the underdog. No, you cannot pity these people. You cannot begin to feel sorry for them. Maybe you just want to not judge them, but you need to protect yourself, because the end deliberate and calculated result is to target and take advantage of people. And that is all it is. And you might not believe me. You might not care to believe me. You might not have experienced this, or you might not have experienced this yet, or maybe you have experienced this and know the truth. But it is important to become aware that there are individuals out there in everyday walks of life who are in the church, who are in the workplace, who are in the doctor office, who are in the court system, who are in the music industry, who are in the arts, who operate with this pathology going on, which is known as psychopathy, which means that this individual has, based on different neural processing than the most and bulk of the population, they are extremely reward-driven, high-risk takers. They act without conscience. They have no regret, no remorse. They really go after, in a very intensive way, what they want. And they use words, body language, and emotional manipulation to deceive, con, and basically pull one over on people. And they do this by breaking people down, violating their boundaries, exhausting them, and then get them to fall in love with this illusion, which is meaningless. The illusion, the facade, the front that they're putting out there is meaningless. It's basically vapid. It's empty. It doesn't have any content. It doesn't have any substance. yet this a person appears substantial. This person appears like a person with organs, a heart, 2 arms, 2 legs, hair, eyes, teeth, ears, etc. It appears that this person is, a normal individual, but yet there's some pathology looking underneath the surface, which makes them very capable of harm and very capable of pathological lying on a consistent and daily basis. And they oftentimes ingratiate their target with initially what we call a lot of love bombing or charm or very likable. They seem to put people at ease. They seem to not flinch at things that normally people would be anxiety over or would be troubled over. Most people would, feel uncomfortable, losing a pet or, hurting their child or hurting another. They would feel regret, remorse, sorry, and then adapt their behavior. These individuals have no connection, no meaning to things like pets, children, relationships, spouses, no matter who they have to kind of be a parasite to. It's just kind of a means to get something done, which is just a win for them. And so it's very, very destructive to be with these individuals if you've been targeted, because they get you to fall so head over heels with this basic illusion. And it's almost like a hologram. If you've ever heard of the hologram, it's kind of like in movies, I think they might, kind of show it as like this, it appears like a 3-dimensional person or being, but there's no like real emotional substance to back this up. So it's very much like that, and it's very, very out of the ordinary. But we're talking about semantic aphasia and the neural processing of this psychopath as it relates to content of words and things. So when we talk about the psychopathic word salad and the way that they flip meanings around, is because they have a way to twist these things and make statements based on their tone, are able to kind of hyper-sexualize, hyper-arouse, and really kind of get people's emotional juices going. So it might at first be sympathy. Their emotional juices might be humor. It might be, one different, type of emotion or another, but generally they do manipulate oftentimes with what we call hyper-arousal context, communication, conversations, where they get people to be very aroused, stimulated, and seduced by them. And this is just a tactic that they use. And so they use this to people who they're trying to target. I think they oftentimes, really step it up and intensify the people who they're trying to target. And it's not because they're necessarily interested in sex, even though they might have copious amounts of sex with these people. They do it more as a means of control. So for them, they get a sense of satisfaction by having control or power over others. So if they have dominated you, if they have destroyed you, if they have brought you down, if they have brought you to your knees, if they have crushed you, if they have basically completely duped you to the point where you fell in love with them, you moved in with them, you created a marriage bond or a romantic bond or a familiar bond or a work bond with them, they are basically thinking, well, I got what I wanted here. I wanted this person to fall for me. And it's really, they're able to portray this very well. I mean, like I say, they should have a union card at the Actors Guild. They should win an Emmy for the way that they dupe people, because it's like it's like a walking nightmare. I mean, they literally do this for their life. So, and we're talking about semantic aphasia. And I just wrote down some notes that I wanted to speak on because I think it'll help you understand and put some pieces together of why this has occurred, and furthermore help you to go no contact. Once you understand kind of what you're dealing with here, you'll see how unattractive this individual is and how much you don't want to associate with them, whatever, because they are going to cross the bounds. They're going to put you in very uncomfortable situations through stalking, through smear campaigns, through odd types of communication, texting you at weird times, calling you at weird times, distracting you, trying to keep you away from your happiness, your healing. They definitely want to keep hoovering you back in to get you back and see if they still have that power over you. So it's very important for you to identify this as a tactic and part of their personality makeup. And so, they don't really resonate with relationships, music, art. Really, it's more the way that the common person would, or be have an appreciation for music or art. They don't have that same connection. It doesn't have an emotional meaning. They're hardwired in a way that they just see it as a way to control people. It doesn't really have a personal meaning to them. So if you've been targeted, try to depersonalize the experience and not feel like there was something weak about you. Yes, if they had targeted you, yes, there was something about that situation about you that they wanted, whether it was a listening ear, whether it was, a parasitic nature of them, a place to live, a place to have sex, a place to get money. I mean, there's something that they wanted, even if it's just seeing you destroyed and have a lot of fear and anguish. That is kind of what they want. So, and they will basically get whatever they want, and they might have even told you that. And we're talking about semantic aphasia, the way that things really don't have any meaning to them. And I think it's really important to look at how, how they might decorate their house or their office. These people generally, might not under-decorate. They just don't create kind of like a home for themselves at the workplace. They seem very transitory or mobile, or they just don't maybe have a lot of pictures, or perhaps, or you feel like they don't really have a past. They don't really resonate with the past. It's kind of like, and if they do have previous family, it's just kind of like they don't really bring them up in a very connected manner. It's something you begin to sense when you're around them, and you're like, there's something really different about this person. And a lot of people, I think, are originally hooked because this person doesn't seem to get upset or angry or just flinch at normal, high risk, situations. And so you're like, wow, this guy's really brave. This guy's really a manly, or this girl is really tough. This girl is really strong. But you don't realize there's something more underneath the surface that's about this person that is not going to be in your best interest to stay around with. And so, when we talk about, their life in general, things aren't very meaningful to them. So, for example, you might look at a sunrise and you might be inspired, or you might look at a sunset and say how beautiful that is. And, it's a beautiful end to a perfect day, and what a gift that is. Or you might see a rainbow and like, oh, that's so beautiful. You might have what's like a meaning, an emotional, abstract meaning to it, like that just lifts your heart. Like it's just it's like built in. No one has to tell you to be attracted to a flower. It's like you just find that intrinsically beautiful. Whereas a psychopath will separate the meaning of it, and it really won't mean anything to them. I mean, they might just hand you some flowers like, it's not, it's not like they don't have any meaning to it. They just think that it's a way to pull one over on people. So that's why you get into the real mimicry that they get into. They tend to observe, and then the psychopathic stare is like, they will watch the way, couples might get together and have hot chocolate or tea. And they're like, oh, look at the way that they sip and have tea and like talk with each other. And so they'll suss that out. They'll learn it. And rather than it being genuine, a genuinely just, most people when they have coffee, they're just like, not self-conscious. They're just like giggling, talking, not trying to edit or put on an act. But yet for the psychopath, they observe, they mimic, and then they basically mimic to you, and they'll just repeat these things. This is how they are. And so basically you have to realize that you resonate, you have meaning with certain things in life where they don't. So this creates a big divide engulf between you and the two of them. And so, you have to then realize why, fighting and arguing and trying to, come together on similar meaning and terms is an exercise of futility with these individuals, because there's no, emotional soil. There's no ground available for you to have this and then have them, listen to you with empathy and consider your viewpoint, and then like work through it together. It is what it is. And the greatest gift you can give yourself is to go no contact, get away as soon as possible. I mean, once you've seen the rock bottom, you don't ever, that you don't ever want to go back, be close to, be associated with. It's very important that you pay attention to these feelings with yourself, and then engage in a complete, neutrality. When I talk about the indifference around this person, don't give them any emotional energy, no emotional feedback, no eye contact, no conversation. You just don't get angry at them, don't get happy with them. It's just a very neutral, indifferent. Just don't even look at them in the eyes, like I've talked before. Look over their shoulder. Do not have any eye contact with them. Don't have any physical contact with them. Don't have any communication with them. Use a mediator if you're in the midst of a divorce or something. Someone who's skilled and can basically be like a buffer or a shield, who this person perhaps isn't targeting, because you don't want to absorb any more contact, connection, discussion, energy. You don't want to watch the rest of the train wreck. I mean, it's not worth watching whatsoever. Peace and harmony with you here today. And they are basically, and they know this. They know that they are like the train wreck that people just want to watch. They want to understand, and then that's why they stalk. They're trying to, lure you back in so they can keep up, their stimulation and get more power over you. So that's the reward for them, and they're on that reward. You don't want to engage or be part of that reward whatsoever, because it doesn't really add up to any sort of positive for you in the long run. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.